This is a very important panel. It's a very egoistic panel to some extent, but because it's a moment in which we try to take away all the inputs that we received today, and we try to make a little bit the point about the evolution of the project so far. There are going to be no slides, only this, and it's fine like that. It's going to be a discussion among the four of us, practically, and we welcome your question. Just to give you a little bit the rule of the game, I will ask them 3 questions, and I will ask to each of them to reply quickly to my question, but in a very, very intelligent and smart way. And then I will open the floor for your question. Henrik, one of our speakers, is going to leave in 30 minutes because of conflicting schedule with traffic jam. So we'll start every time with him. I will introduce you briefly. The 3 speakers are all members of the ETTIS consortium. Monica Ragazzo from Trilateral Research Consulting is one of the core partners for the ETTIS project. They do a lot of other projects, both in security, privacy, and other kind of topics. She was playing an important part, if I'm not wrong, especially in Work Package 2. That was an important package to set the stage for our research. Eva Dönitz from, it's good? Yeah, it's good. Good pronunciation for once. From Fraunhofer, the other key partners, they're responsible mostly for Work Package 4. That is a very, very important package because we are discussing their scenario, construction of scenario, and in 1 month or less, we're going to have a long validation workshop concerning scenario in Brussels, and I think that she will probably say some words concerning that. And Henrik Ericsson, like the phone company, I think.
That's me. That's very simple.
Yeah.
It's not that important.
I think so.
Which is very Swedish still, from the Swedish Defense Research Agency. You have already met Ericsson in this case. And they're also having the lead or an important role in another key work package of the project. So my first question, what have been the challenge so far in your experience 1.5 years after the beginning of this project? Henrik.
Okay, this works quite well. When preparing this question, because I know this question beforehand, I have to be honest, I will take the opportunity to be a little bit self-critical against the project. Early in the project, you know too little to be self-critical, and later in the project, at the end, it's too late to be critical. So I think this is the time to be self-critical. This is an observation about our setup compared to reality, perhaps, and also compared to what I have learned during the day. And the observation is simply that I think that the ETTIS setup from a methodological point of view very much reflects a top-down perspective on how to build a more secure society or how to build a more robust society, or whatever we would like to call it. We have learned during the day and during the 18 months that we start with these threats that we interpret in different futures, what we call context scenarios. And that interpretation we translate into societal needs. One threat interpreted in one future gives rise to societal needs, which we then try to address via portfolios of capabilities and options, as Matthias explains for us. And this setup, more or less implicitly or explicitly, presupposes that we are very good at coming up with these contexts and the list of threats. There is a saying in other businesses that is, and this is a little harsh perhaps, but shit in, shit out. And I'm not saying that we should turn everything around, but I think that our project would gain with complementing our, which I would call a top-down approach, with more of, and we have learned that during the day as well, the resilience approach, which doesn't put that much emphasis in coming up with a good list of threats. Instead, we put emphasis in building a resilient society. And of course, if you go to that concept, you get other problems. And one problem is that how resilience has been interpreted so far in the social sciences. It has, and especially in the security business, resilience has very much been interpreted in terms of the crisis management phase of security. And I think the challenge for us is to try to incorporate resilience not only as a metaphor, but also as something into the core of the methodology. And then going from crisis management perspective to a prevention perspective, using resilience as a vehicle for building in more of preventive thinking in our approach to methodology. So this is my first observation.
Thank you very much.
Do you have more observations? You would like to say?
Yeah, but if time permits, probably not.
Yeah, of course I prepared another observation, but I also think that the question threats and resilience is very important also for us in this project. But I would like to share some reflections about another issue, about societal needs. We didn't talk a lot about societal needs today, but to identify the societal needs in this project is one of the most important aims, at least a kind of interim step, which are based to create solutions to fulfill the societal needs. And we have, during this project, we recognize that we talk about societal needs and actually about societal security needs, because all research is in context of security. And we have two different parts of this sentence, but this word. We have societal and we have needs. And what is actually society? We talk a lot about society, but it could be also a kind of critical self-criticism in this project. We don't have any work package which consider what is society. And I have definition for you. The society is the aggregate of people living together in a more or less ordered community. The Oxford dictionary definition that includes the communities of people living in a particular country or region. We mean Europe here as the region. We mean and the people share customs, laws, and organization, and so on. So we talk about very different groups, about different institutions, about companies, about politics, and also individual. And for us, it's really a challenge to identify societal needs, because needs of whom, what kind of organization, and we have this results in very different types of needs, which may be in conflict to each other, or maybe fully opposite to each other. And we have very different needs. On the one side, we have needs like needs for power or power demonstration, or need to control the environment, which could have an impact and could be a threat. And we have also needs which results from threats, like need to protect the privacy. So there's not so simple. We didn't think that it would be simple, but during the work, the question about societal needs, about types, about society, and needs as whole arise, and it's really a challenge.
Thank you very much, Eva. Monica?
And this is the last reflection on the ETTIS project. And I know that we are self-critical in this phase, but don't worry, we will have the solutions. So even if we're not coming out with solution now, we will find it. And this is a reflection linked to this other two reflection. And of course, the way in which ETTIS would deal with this threat-based, vast, resilient base and security for whom will also inform the consortium expectation for who should implement our research result and who should uptake our research result. We know from some other intervention today, especially from Eva Marie, that it's really important to think about the use of research. And of course, within the ETTIS consortium, we are not here just to produce something that remains in paper, but we want our research result to be used. So who are our uptakers? Are we talking just about traditional uptakers like industry players and public administration, or we should broaden even further, so civil society and even individuals, because of the resilience approach and because our societal glasses. And even in that case, when we're talking about, for instance, industry player, we look at industry player just as a producer of security product, or actually industry player as a corporate citizen, which is a slightly different role. I want to remind you, I don't know if anyone remember, Bob Diamond, when he was asked at the beginning of his role as, when he started taking the role as CEO of Berkeley, there is this panel question that was asked, but probably when he was in New York, and the journalist from the floor asked him, do you think Berkeley could be a good citizen? So should we see industry just as producer of security services, or actually as a corporate citizen? And beside our audience, we are realizing this one here, that there are barrier and limitation and constraints to uptake of security research. We have done, we have analyzed previous projects. We have talked with quite a lot of research teams, and we know that these barriers range from institutional barriers to research limitation and to cultural constraint. So for us now it's also quite important to start thinking why we're getting to a critical point of our research, how we can develop strategy to involve more our end users, whoever they are, to be sure that the barrier the other security projects have faced before and are not faced by us.
Thank you very much, Monica. My second question will be, what do you bring home after today? What are the elements that were raised today during the conference that you think could be useful for the project? What touched your heart?
Well, these are different questions. What touched my heart? There are so many things. I would bring up one thing. This is about conflicting threats. We have learned today that one of the main threats to Europe is the economic crisis, and I interpreted that as unemployment is a big threat to the European Union or the European member states. And very often you heard that the main solution to unemployment is economic growth. So, at the same time, more and more people would say that economic growth is a threat to other things in society. There is a tendency of talking about the planetary boundaries. Perhaps many of you have heard about this, that we have trespassed a lot of planetary boundaries, which is about the safe space of operating for human beings. For example, climate change is one planetary boundary, oxidization of the seas is another planetary boundary, phosphor is a third planetary boundary, etc. And more people are talking about economic growth as a threat multiplier to stay within planetary boundaries. And here I see a conflict between, on the one hand, some people say is a solution to one threat is a threat multiplied to others. So that is a complex problem that I foresee.
Thank you very much. Eva.
I made a lot of notice during the whole day because it's very interactive questions and we couldn't prepare an answer. And I tried to pick some presentations, maybe like Stephen's presentation. You talk about threats and threats have a very different level. So we have global threats like climate change, and we also have more specific threats like which could result from the global threats, like breakdown of public order. And the same situation is also with needs. So we have a very general needs, like to be safe, need to be protected against crime, or we have a very specific needs like job security. So this is again the challenge to create solution, which is your work. we have the Eva Marie talk about a lot of aspects, and I thought during this presentation, do we consider these aspects in our scenarios? So she talked about values in Europe. She talked about training and exercises. For me, is a kind of building of resilience in society. She talked about standardizations, about risk assessment, and partly we consider that, and partly not. Maybe that is lessons learned. What else? I liked very much the presentation of Harald, because we also do foresight, and he talked about prediction and to be prepared on the future and how accurate could be scenarios or foresight. And we don't want to reach accuracy, but we would like to show you how broad the futures could be, and when we have one future and another one, and we try to identify or to find out with what kind of solution we can offer in this future and in the another one, and we identify a robust solution which could be offered in each future. So it would be a very good insight or result of our project. And finally, what Billy said about shaping the future, we should wait until future comes, because we should try to do something, to offer solutions, or to maybe to avoid the worst case, or to support the best case. But we have a lot of discussion about this. So there are a lot of links between the speeches and our work. I think that's enough.
Thank you very much, Eva. Monica.
My reflection on the day is I probably going to start with Peter, who's a remark that is stuck in my mind when you say society is a primary provider of security. Yes, we started the day with this remark, and then we were going through all the presentation, and of course, it was clear to me that we are in a sort of dichotomy phase in security. There is a sort of track 1 security or track 2 security. We call it like that. And in a track 1, we still view security as something that is happening on us. So we need to be protected. Society needs to be protected. We in society, or individuals are the passive actors, and society is something that happens on us. But there is track 2, where we start seeing where individuals and society have an active role, and there is William that mentioned the community work, and society can protect itself, can be being the active actors. And to what extent I'm thinking that maybe tension between track 1 and track 2, because I don't think we will move to a situation where one track will dominate the other. These two tracks will exist in parallel. And are they going to be integrated? Are there going to be tension between these two? And how are we going to deal with this type of situation? Is my reflection.
Thank you very much. Now the most difficult question. How we can enrich ETTIS with your consideration and with what you have identified as the most interesting part of today? I don't want a ready-made solution for the project, but what are the practical steps that you can imagine to take now?
Did we say practical when preparing this panel? So I can't answer that question. Okay, I rephrase it if it's okay if you Rocco this way. What are the main challenges ahead? Is that okay?
Yeah, but also if you have some specific idea of how, where do you see space for intervention?
Okay. Yeah, in that case, I would like to come back to my first point. I think that I see space for intervention. We need to strike a balance between, on the one hand, a threat-based approach in what we are doing, and on the other hand, a resilience-based approach. I think we need both of those approaches, but we need not to go into one extreme or one or the other. And in using then a resilience approach in our methodology development, the challenge will be to use that approach for long-term prevention, not short-term prevention. And in that regard, I have some optimism, because if you think about where the resilience concept comes from, it comes from ecology, and in ecology everything is long-term in effect. So if we can get inspired by how the concept of resilience is used in ecology, and especially in ecology coupled to society, I think we have some interesting work ahead of us.
Eva.
So difficult question, and I'm afraid I don't have any answer of this question. Maybe I can tell something about end-user involvement, because there are also a lot of end-user, and we also try to involve end-user in ETTIS. I have to say try, because in our proposal we defined how kind of stakeholders, user, however we call them, we would like to involve using interviews or surveys or workshops. We did a lot of workshops in this project and invited a lot of end users also, but it's very difficult to get them really to participating. And maybe on this stage I can do some advertising. We have a workshop in June, 12th and 13th, 13th June, and the location is Brussels. And we will talk about scenarios linking them with threats, and the focus is on deriving societal needs. So everyone is invited. If you need some additional information, please give me your card. But maybe some lessons, one lesson learned regarding considering or involving end users in such a project. Maybe end users should be more informed about the topic of the project, because we take a lot from them. We invite them to the workshop and so on, but maybe we are not able to give them what they expect, and I think to meet the expectation and to inform the end user would be, for me, lessons learned.
Okay, thank you very much. Monica.
Yes, I think stakeholder involvement, I think, is fundamental, and I think that one is, for us especially, if you really want to endorse the societal view, we need a broader boundary for who we define as stakeholders, and we shouldn't be too afraid even to think about individuals. And it's important that we need to maintain an outward look in terms of as a reference to what we want to achieve in terms of the utilization of our research. So we get to a stage where this outward look is important. We shouldn't, just thinking about the research efforts now. We get into a critical stage and then we tend just to focus on the research, but we need to maintain this view. And in relation to solutions, the view on active actors, and again thinking about active society, active individuals, I think is something that we should keep in mind when we will develop the solutions coming from the needs.
Okay, thank you very much. I know, Henrik, that you have to leave in a few minutes, so if you want to have a second say on something, or if you want to throw a stone and then hide yourself, is the moment.
I tried to throw my stone already, which is the conflict between economic growth and certain other threats. I hope that's enough.
Okay.
I don't have enough.
Which is more than enough in any case. So I would like to open the floor, first of all. I see one question. Are there two questions?